some of the scarring that she had, or if she needed special eye drops because of this surgery. And so my daughter was bit by a dog, and as a result, she had to undergo reconstructive eye surgery. She had lacerations in her eyelid and down her cheek, which required multiple stitches and a couple of different surgeries, actually. She was 4. So obviously, my first priority as a parent was her recovery and caring for her. I was completely overwhelmed as well with just what the process was going to look like with the medical bills and what was going to happen with that. What was very important to me was to make sure that my daughter was going to be able to have enough funds for her later in life if she needed a different surgery, if she wasn't happy with, some of the scarring that she had, or if she needed special eye drops because of this surgery. And so once I figured out what Irie's injuries were and the severity of them, it was very important for me to figure out how to navigate setting up the funds for her future. I really think that I was really overwhelmed with the insurance companies. I was getting phone calls from insurance companies, and they were requesting paperwork, and they weren't answering questions that I needed answered. After the insurance companies were contacting me and not answering my questions, I knew that I needed help. So I had seen RSH Legal's advertising, and I know Tim personally, and so that combined, I knew that would be a great fit. RSH Legal made it very simple. I was feeling, like I said, very overwhelmed before I had contacted RSH Legal, but after that, I felt Tim and the team truly cared about my daughter and they were there with me every step of the way. They were always there to answer any question we had, and we felt very supported. I feel like RSH Legal showed that they cared for our case, just the constant communication. Tim and the entire team, I didn't have to call. They were always emailing me before I could even pick up the phone to call. They took over all of the paperwork. They found my daughter the best care. They found my daughter the best doctors. That really made me feel at ease. So for my family, I feel like the contingency fee was the best option for us, just because we weren't being billed every meeting or every phone call. And this case took years. So I would have not been able to afford to pay Tim out of pocket during that time. So I am so thankful that he did the work and was able to be paid at the end of the case. It worked great for us. So yeah, after the dog bite, you move on with life, even after an injury or a tragedy of that, and you have to move on. And it was so comforting to know that I didn't have to worry about that because RSH Legal was there to support me. It was really important to me that Irie got a fair settlement, and I knew that the case taking the amount of time would have been the best for her in the long run. When I look towards Irie's future, I'm really thankful that she's going to have an opportunity to have a sum of money to help with her education. When she's finished with school, she'll be able to travel or pick out her first home, and without RSH Legal's help, I would not have been able to do that. If I ran into somebody who was in a similar situation that we were in, I would tell them that it's going to take time and it's going to be a journey, but in the end, it will be okay.